He hates putting himself out there thinking that people are judging him. He was a different man in that he was never afraid to talk to people. But now he avoids it. He doesn't go into those situations where he might have to communicate.
Nobody told you how to live a good life when your loved one has aphasia. You can. This is life beyond aphasia.
You used to be the man that could talk to anybody, anywhere, the cashier at the grocery store, the neighbor in the driveway, the guy at Home Depot. But now when you go to these places, it's quiet. It's early. It's before the rush. When you know you're going to run into less people. Or you skip it all together and you let your wife go instead. This is the isolation that has come. When you stopped initiating, other people stopped initiating. If they offered to do X, Y, or Z, and you're like, no, I got it. They stopped offering, didn't they? They stopped coming around. Or you have the opposite, where people who you normally would talk to didn't know how to interact with you anymore because they don't understand aphasia. They don't understand what it's like in your head, and nobody told them how to help you. This exact thing happened to Jerry, and he didn't intend it, and he didn't understand what was happening until we had a conversation about it. He is sad because there's people that have faded into the background. People that he would normally see and talk to when he was running errands around town. Friends that he would get together with for dinner or go to a movie. But they were all silent now. I think you might recognize yourself in this story. And I want to share with you 3 things that Jerry and I worked through together to get to the next place. He prided himself on his communication, his talking with others. Then aphasia happened. His world still got smaller. He stopped going places and allowing himself into situations where aphasia might show up. If he needed to go to Home Depot to do some kind of a return or an exchange where he had to do some talking, he avoided it altogether. He either never did it or he asked his wife to do it for him. He stopped putting himself out there. He stopped trying because he didn't know how to interact with other people. He didn't have the words to say about what his aphasia was, and he did not want people to think less of him. He did not want people to think he was less smart. What Jerry doesn't see, because he is so ashamed of his aphasia, is that he still has skills. He is so focused on the things that he can't do that he cannot focus on the things that he can do. And for 4 years, Jerry's world has gotten smaller and smaller. His radius of where he ventures out of his house alone without his wife is tiny. Here's the belief that keeps many people with aphasia stuck. You think that you don't deserve to go out into the world and express yourself however you do. You feel that aphasia has made you less of a person, and so you are not worthy of taking people's time to have them pause for 2 seconds to allow you to find your word, to formulate your thought, to get out the words that you want to say. Rehab didn't prepare you for being out in the real world when you have to figure it out on your own. And that is scary. It's not until we take the time to break down what that fear is to figure out the path forward, to figure out the roadmap for them getting back out into the world. The people in your life are not pulling away because you have aphasia. They are following your lead. If you are pulling back, they pull back because they don't understand. There's an embarrassment that They don't want to be embarrassed, and they don't want you to feel bad either. So if you can give them a way to help you out, that helps build that relationship back. When I sat down with Jerry, he said to me, "My voice is really soft. People have a hard time hearing me. My wife can't hear me. My grandkids can't hear me." What I found to be profound about that is that Jerry had been shrinking. Not only did his world shrink because of the stroke and aphasia, but he shrunk himself on top of that because he didn't feel like he was worthy, that because he couldn't say his words and phrases and his thoughts like he used to, that he thought he was less important to others. And so as a result, over the last 4 years, his voice got softer. What he learned was a protective mechanism. He learned to protect himself by not being his usual outgoing, talkative, vocabulary-rich self. He felt that he didn't deserve other people's time. He thought he was wasting their time if he couldn't come up with a word. So he was constantly apologizing. He was constantly dropping eye contact, saying sorry, and not communicating what he needed to communicate. First, you need to practice your voice before you need it. Jerry's voice went soft because he stopped using it with intention. And I want you to start small, in the mirror, or with your spouse, or over FaceTime with someone who you believe in that will not judge you or give you grief. You're not going to develop this back unless you practice it, unless you believe you are worthy. And you are worthy. You need to speak up, even if it comes out sideways. Eyes up, with intention, purpose driven. It takes practice to build your confidence. Next suggestion is to anticipate the conversation before you walk in the door. If you are going to Home Depot and you are making a return, visualize walking up to the return desk, saying why you are returning, that you want money back or you get store credit, whatever the situation is. Practice it. Practice it at the kitchen table. Have 2 sentences ready before you even walk in that door. You might say, "Sometimes my words come out sideways, and if something doesn't make sense, just ask me." So what you just did right there, you prepared, you anticipated, and then you advocated for yourself. That is empowerment. That is how we support you who have aphasia, to get you to practice these day-to-day conversations. The third step is to pick one place you used to go and go back there. If the post office was something you used to do regularly, or going to the dry cleaners, anticipate what that conversation is going to be and go in prepared. Practice with your spouse. Go with your spouse if you need that extra moral support while she is there with you. Start with this one place. Go, do, come back, refine, do it again. And then let's apply it to the next place. That's where you start with this. And here's what I need you to hear. You are starting. You are going to rebuild your circle because you are worth it. And here's what we build together inside the Rebuilder experience. This is exactly the kinds of things that we work on, but in a variety of circumstances outside your immediate circle. Maybe it's advocating for yourself at work. We take what the goal is, we reverse engineer, break it down into its parts, work on the impairment, we work on the strategies, and we work on the mindset, because you are worth it. You can build on to rebuild your world after aphasia. That's what we do in the Rebuilder experience. And you and your care partner go through this together. You are the rebuilder if you are tired of being where you are. You are motivated. You have goals to achieve. You have a life to get back to. You don't want to spend the next 20 years sitting on the couch. You want to do something about it. Start with our Aphasia Strengths Compass. This is our proprietary digital tool that helps you see where you are now in your communication and build on your strengths. And it gives you the next best step to move forward. It only takes a few minutes, and you're going to come away knowing exactly where you are right now. I know that this episode landed for you. I know you can relate to your world shrinking. And I know that you want something different. Maybe it's just getting back into the world. Maybe it's connecting with someone you've lost track of over these months, years since aphasia came into your life. You can rebuild. Help us support other folks with aphasia and their care partners. This is a very niche topic, and if you like and subscribe, it allows us to get this message out to other people. And also get in the comments. We need to build this community. If you want to rebuild your life after aphasia, we are here to help you do that. Join us.
Rehab ends. Life doesn't. Rebuild communication, rebuild connection, rebuild life. This is Life Beyond Aphasia.